Greetings and salutations, everyone. Welcome to a short little video here. Hardcore Season 4 was announced an official date yesterday of the 31st of the month. So we have about 2 weeks from yesterday to get ready to go. So I've been kicking around for quite a while what kind of builds I'm excited for the hardcore. I want to get out of my comfort zone, do something different. I know I could just go back to my usual Pale Master Rogue builds and be very successful like I've done many times on the hardcore. I know I could do a Bard build and be very successful in the hardcore. Like, I know there's a bunch of things that I would be easily capable of pulling off for the hardcore server, but I wanted to do something outside of my comfort zone. And if you think about me and what I do, I play a big variety of builds. I have a lot of stuff, but I really am like a wizard specialist, right? Like, if you were to put me in a camp, I would basically want to be playing a wizard 99% of the time. So I kind of was thinking about it, and the opposite of wizard is a tank, right? Sort of. So I'm looking to level up as a tank on the hardcore server. And I know a lot of people are going to go, what? You don't level up as a tank? That's dumb. You get pulled along as a tank, or you turn into a tank after you're done. Well, I found on hardcore server season 3, I believe, that having a really solid tank in the group, someone that will happily run ahead, happily has good self-heals, throwing those intimidates, can heal some other people on occasion if necessary, and even if they can't really kill their way out of a paper bag, it tends to be pretty solid. So this is what I've been inspired to give a shot to for a little while. I've been talking about a Barbarian on again, off again on the stream. So last night, it was St. Patty's Day, we had a few drinks, and we TR'd into this mess. So, to give you a rough idea of what we want to do, we know we want to have level 7 Druid spells for Regenerate, which means 13 levels of Druid, which means we have 7 other levels to play with. Now, looking back through my difficulties for hardcore servers past, Magic Missile Protection is super important. So I was looking at some of the different classes that would give us the opportunity to take Magic Missile Protection. Wizards, pretty much out because we're going to be sword and board and heavy armor, or the heaviest armor we can get away with most of the time. And overcoming that much spell failure on the hardcore server every 5 minutes is not a great idea. Favored Soul. We could have done Favored Soul. It would have been okay, like 1 level splash. I know that's very popular. A little extra damage with Divine Might would have been very solid, but it wasn't going to be that much with the First Life character over on the hardcore. So instead, we kind of like flipped around through everything, and then I was inspired by Warlock. Now, the Warlock has 2 things going for it. One, you can take Shield and Night Shield as first level spells as a Warlock. So assuming that you use a leveling order that I'm currently planning on doing, a Barbarian, Barbarian, Druid, Druid, you can take your first level of Warlock at level 5, which is right about the time that you're ready to step into the marketplace and you need Magic Missile Protection. So in my mind, that makes a lot of sense. 2, with a little bit more Warlock level investment, you can just take permanent shield over in the Light and Spirit. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about it getting dispelled. You don't have to worry about it getting turned off. Bam. Very, very important. Also, if you're going to be a tank, you get a lot of value out of this Warlock splash, right? Resilience of body, spiritual defense, resilience of soul, more spiritual warding, spiritual bastion. Like, it's an extremely defensive tree. Very powerful. But of course, the big thing, if you're going to be a tank and all in on Constitution, and you're going to have this, like, you're going to be up front doing things, you need a lot of a preemptive healing and a lot of cheap, effective healing. So Brilliance adds a lot of sustain. Right now, we are currently getting 63 points of temporary hit points every 5 seconds. If we Rage, we can up that a little bit, and in Reaper mode, depending on your Reaper points, you can pick up a little bit more here and there. I found it so far to be very, very strong. very, very strong in my screwing around. Speaking of temporary hit points, our 2 levels of Barbarian easily gives us access to Blood Tribute. It's part of the reason we want to take 2 levels of Barbarian so early. Even though we're not going to be the best at taking down bad guys right away, because we'll probably have like a 10 or maybe 13 strength. Depends on our stat layout. Assuming we go max con and enough intelligence that we can take full intimidate and full heal. That doesn't leave us a whole lot of wiggle room for charisma and strength. I ended up taking a little bit more charisma this go around, base 14, and it seems really solid. Now, sword and board, temporary hit points, all that stuff sounds really nice. What are we going to do with it? We're going to be a bear. We're going to get all this constitution. We're going to just stand there, take all the hit points, do all the things. So with a little bit of work over in Tier 5, you get Beast Awakens. You can cast your spells while raging. That means rage suddenly is no longer a detriment. And you can basically be a defensive rager, right? Get out there, get some action. And then at level... I just got this last level. Trying to like make everything work here. But you could take Force of Nature and be able to use metal armor and shields, and that's pretty big game when you're talking about the hardcore server with like miscellaneous stuff. And you also get a charge. Now I have Razorclaw Shifter selected because I wanted to play as an iconic and get some Razorclaw lives done. This one happens to be okay. I think Dwarf is probably going to be slightly better, but in the vacuum, I think this will be fine to like experiment with it. So I'm actually going to show you my prototype build. Sometimes I do this. Sometimes, especially when I'm not 100% sure that I'm making good decisions, I cobble together a prototype build. Sam DeBear. Same basic scenario. I kind of walk through everything. This one's stats are a little bit different, but just to give you an idea of how I thought things were important on a first life character with no gear to speak of. This is using the starter gear. As you might tell, our constitution's a lot less. I started with I think base 16, and over here I think I made the strength base 14. I think that I would max out con on the hardcore server, and all level ups are going to con. So much less constitution in this build than the other, but also we don't have the +6 here yet from wearing a sword and a board with the Urza Spirit. Can we pull that off now? We can pull that off now. So let's just eyeball what that would look like. Yeah, so now we're at 40. 40 hit points every 5 seconds is pretty good, pretty reasonable. We can also pick up a Constitution here. And we can pick up a Constitution here if we want. I don't think we do yet, right? Not yet. But if you look at first life character with the starting gear at level 15, which is not really that great, we still have 90 PRR and 60 MMR. Plus, like I said, the 40 Constitution. And our hit point total is currently at 578. For a first life character on the hardcore, it seems pretty gas. Seems quite strong. So this is what I'm looking at for the hardcore server. I don't know what you're looking at, but if you'd like to leave a comment in the video, I would love to know. I'm very curious. Again, at the time of the recording, we are 2 weeks away from hardcore season 4, and I'm very excited. All right, everybody, don't forget that I record these videos as part of my Twitch streams that you can check out Monday through Friday, honestly. And mostly Dungeons & Dragons Online, sometimes a little bit of variety, mostly on Fridays. But I hope you join us, twitch.tv/SamusGrobo. And again, we appreciate you hanging out with us today. Thanks very much, and we'll see you soon. Cheers!